We'll do it live. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live. Thing sucks.
You see, KYJ, things have changed just a little bit since the last time you were here.
I think you should see your oculus. Nothing wrong with my feet. I'm talking about your eyes.
I can even make my ass do tricks. Watch this.
You have any idea where you are? You're in the jungle, baby. This is WCW. That's right. Hold on.
For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We're live Wednesday night, September 23rd, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. Thank you for joining us wherever you may be doing so. Here alongside the man they call Meathead and Frank Cosentino, the Cos, and David Hero. We are up for an amazing show, gentlemen. In addition to our live phone calls at 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN, we've got two huge guests tonight. One announced, the other only announced to our friends on Twitter. AJ Styles, the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion, will be joining us in just a few minutes right here live on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. AJ, obviously, gentlemen, going to have a lot to talk about after becoming the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion at No Surrender last Sunday. And then at the top of the hour, at the 9 o'clock hour, Traci Brooks will be joining us right here in this third program. Our first diva since, or our first female performer since Sunny, I believe.
Dawn Marie?
Or Dawn Marie.
Before Sunny.
Either way, boys, before we get to those two huge guests, remember the numbers, 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. Let's not forget, you can also listen to the show now on your iPhone live. If you have an iPhone, you can listen to the Pro Wrestling Report live. Go to ESPNMilwaukee.com for more information on that. But, gentlemen, let's talk about the WWE Raw broadcast from this past Monday night, where about 5 million people tuned in, and we saw some very intriguing things from Frederick the Entertainment.
Otherwise known as Cedric the Entertainer, but according to Santino.
Lillian Garcia gets sent off her last night with the company, a send-off where, quite frankly, I was waiting for the run-in. I was waiting for them to crap on Lillian somehow or another. I was waiting for them to disrespect Lillian's 10 years in the company. Gentlemen, your thoughts on Lillian Garcia's farewell from WWE?
I thought it was a great send-off for her. You know, she's been, I guess, one of the more consistent faces of Raw for the past 10 years.
When was she a heel? That's the thing. 10 years.
One of the faces, not baby faces.
Okay.
My favorite Lillian segment ever was she had gotten into it with, I want to say Trish Stratus, but I don't remember who it is. It's a clip at pwrshow.com, actually, where she started talking in Spanish and just going crazy. We'll try to pull that up. We can actually potentially play it. But that certainly is my most memorable Lillian moment.
Wasn't it with Big Daddy V? Viscera?
No.
The romance angle?
No.
That was a scary angle. She's obviously had angles with other divas. She had a, 3 count where she got slammed, and then, Rosie that went off the top rounding? It wasn't Rosie at the time.
3-minute warning.
3-minute warning.
3 count was a boy band in WCW.
So I thought it was a good send-off. 10 years, you're correct, David. She was the face. She had a great voice. She sang very well when she would do the...
So you were looking at her voice?
I was listening to her voice.
She was a ring announcer, so her voice played a prominent role in her job.
When they first hired, Lillian Garcia, I wasn't a big fan. I'm like, there's no way this is going to work.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? She was actually very, very good. She was pretty much perfect.
She was better than Mike LeGurk.
She really did. She did a good job, far better than Howard Finkel, I think.
Howard Finkel has his niche.
But here's the thing. With Lillian Garcia, they got their demographic.
Howard
Finkel wouldn't have delivered that demographic.
They also, Howard Finkel doesn't sing the national anthem either.
Well, no. Not many ring announcers do.
Yeah, but Lillian Garcia did, and did well.
Mm-hmm.
And, Dave, weren't you up for that job at one point?
No, we talked about it, but,
It was in the works, wasn't it? While you were at WWE's catering or at WWF?
It was the WWF catering.
So around the studio here, all of us pretty much expecting something to have happened in that particular segment, and it didn't.
No, I didn't expect anything to happen. But once the segment happened, I thought something bad was going to happen, and they sent her off perfectly. Again, she'll be missed for
normally
about a minute.
Something like that. It's always after the show. Where once the cameras are done rolling, that's when they bring out a cake or everyone comes out. But yeah, I thought it was very well done.
Very uncharacteristic as well of WWE. We talked about really, I think the last person to get a send-off so well done was Ric Flair after WrestleMania 24, when we talked about the JRs of the world and the Eric Bischoffs of the world who were thrown in garbage cans or had some inappropriate skits done about them. This was a good move by WWE.
Mm-hmm.
Also on Raw, we talked about Cedric the Entertainer being the guest host. Well, his interactions with Santino Marella were entertaining, to say the least. And Santino Marella taking his chance at stand-up comedy. I just flew into town. Thank you for coming out tonight. Good stuff.
Santino is the most charismatic guy on Raw right now. When he comes out, when that music first hits, everyone pops for it because they know it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be fun.
It will, and it continues to be. Eventually, he's going to have to get into the ring again.
You know what? But
right now, it's working.
He doesn't have to. I mean, they beat him up every week. He never really wins. But yeah, he keeps coming back to
except
the
for the Milan Miracle, which they referenced actually. The fact that the only really stretch of wins that he was getting was when he was beating up girls as a girl. When he was IC champ twice, by the way, not just one time. He was a two-time. He's a two-time IC champ. So that's the only time he really was getting any wins. That and when he was hanging around with Maria and Beth Phoenix.
It just goes to show you if the guy has a strong character, he doesn't have to win to stay over.
And relevant.
That's a good point.
Santino Marella, really one of the reasons to tune in to WWE Raw, and we'll talk more about him on this Friday night's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time on Time Warner Cable Channel 14. So be sure to tune into that also at pwrshow.com as well. Remember, guys, you can join us and gals, the number 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. Again, that's 276-ESPN or 1-800-990-ESPN. Also on Raw this past Monday night, we saw Legacy continue their dominance over D-Generation X. I, for one, was very surprised by that. Your thoughts?
I'm impressed that Triple H is selling for the guys, making them look strong. But we all know in the end, like you said, Damian, it's just a matter of time before Triple H and Shawn Michaels get their heat back and put it to Legacy at the pay-per-view.
Right. As the conclusion to this feud, this program with Legacy and DX is, unfortunately for Legacy, DX has to go over on top, even though that's not how it should be. You should let Legacy be stronger. Because the name Shawn Michaels and the name Triple H will still live on after they get beat by Legacy.
Yeah, but they can't beat DX in a Hell in a Cell.
Well,
it's two 20-year-old kids. They're not going to beat up DX in a Hell in a Cell match.
They're not supposed to. So, and that's why, it doesn't look believable.
It's frustrating to me because I would love to see Legacy get over in Hell in a Cell. It's not going to happen, but that would be great.
If it was any other tag team besides DX, I think they could win. But there's
even
no way
Show and Jericho?
Sure. They have a better chance beating Jericho and Big Show than DX.
So do you think they take the steam off of just missing on DX and go for the tag titles?
No, they won't go for the tag titles after that. There's no way. How can they lose a big high-profile match and then go into a program with the World Tag
Because here we are talking about how good they looked and how close they were. And you take that steam, you push towards the tag title.
We'll find out in 2 weeks at Hell in a Cell on pay-per-view. We're going to take a timeout, and when we come back, our guest is the TNA World Heavyweight Champion, AJ Styles. We're ready to fly here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Join me in welcoming our very special guest right now, the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. He is the one, the only, the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. AJ, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk about that big match just last Sunday at TNA No Surrender on pay-per-view. You were able to achieve your fourth championship reign as the TNA World Heavyweight Champion. AJ, how did it feel to walk out of that event as the man on top of the company in TNA?
man, words can't explain it. I felt like I was on top of the world. Just, a little back information for you. This is the first time I've ever held the TNA title, the world title. There were a couple of letters in front of it before, so it's a little different, man. It was the NWA TNA world title before. Mm-hmm. Now the TNA world title. So for me, it meant so much more because I started here at TNA, 7 years ago. So it meant a lot to hold that title.
Right now, you are the face of TNA, with the man holding the championship, and obviously there's a lot of changes going on in TNA. We had TNA President Dixie Carter on this program about a month ago, and she gave us a little bit of a preview of some of those changes that will be happening. Obviously, most of it on the backstage front, some things in front of the camera as well. But your thoughts on those changes, as we heard Ed Ferreira coming back to the company last weekend, and also obviously some changes with Taz and Don West, things of that nature. Your thoughts on the current direction of TNA Wrestling? Is it heading in the right direction, at least from a planning and a backstage standpoint, or would you like to see some other things change?
You know what? I definitely think that's going in the right direction. More help with the writing team is never a bad thing. I mean, with all kinds of ideas flowing, that's always a good thing. And just having more ears to listen to what the boys have to say, that's a good thing. With bringing in Taz and putting him in a commentator's position, I think is perfect. We needed someone like Taz to kind of spice it up a little bit, and he's done exactly that. He's such a good commentator, and he just compliments Mike very well. And there's always going to be changes that I want to see done. I think that as the world changes, so does TNA Wrestling, and I hope that we see more changes for good. Not just stuff that really doesn't sometimes concern us that are in the office, but little things like with the agents bringing those guys in, more experienced, guys who've been in this position as wrestlers, to bring those guys in and help us, have better matches for fans.
And regardless of whatever those changes are, going into the biggest pay-per-view of the year on October 19th, Bound for Glory out in Los Angeles, California, you're going to be defending that World Heavyweight Championship, we presume, but who will it be against? Who will be the first challenger for your World Heavyweight Championship?
Time will tell. I have someone up my sleeve that I need to talk to and see if we can.
You're the champ. They should be coming to you.
Well, I kind of owe someone, I think, after this past Sunday. So, yeah, man, I might have to, you know what? I think you'll just have to watch Thursday night and see what happens.
Bound for Glory, as I said, October 19th in Los Angeles. What does that event mean for you? It's obviously the premier event for TNA Wrestling, and it's going to be the first event from TNA out on the West Coast, or specifically in the Los Angeles area. What does that event mean to you? What memories hold strong in your head and heart from that event?
It's huge, man. I mean, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, that this is our Super Bowl. And it really is. It's, we all let it all hang out, man. Everything we've got, is put into this pay-per-view. This is the biggest show of the year, and so, man, everybody's going to be, leaving it all out in the ring. Needless to say, not that we don't already, but man, this is the big show. You do what it takes to get to the next level, and man, we've got the talent to do it. So this is, there's a lot of great memories from Bound for Glory. I wish I could tell you some right now, but it's just too many. 7 years is a lot.
Understandable. October 24th, you and TNA Wrestling are going to be coming to Racine, Wisconsin. First time in Racine, Wisconsin, big house show. Now, AJ, you recently went back to your hometown of Gainesville, Georgia, and did a house show for TNA Wrestling there. How was that experience, your homecoming, if you will, back to Gainesville?
I'm going to tell you, man, it was awesome. I've never really wrestled in Gainesville before, so to come home and do it, just in your own hometown, where you got your friends, your family, guys you haven't seen forever, show up at your wrestling match and are there to cheer you on. I swear, I think every one of those fans in that building were cheering me against Kurt Angle, and it was flattering. It was something. It's been a great week for me, with having the Gainesville show, having a new little boy, and then winning the World Heavyweight title. It doesn't get much better than that.
A great week indeed, and tickets for that show on October 24th in Racine are available now. AJ is going to be in town for that show. the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. AJ, let's play a game called Word Association.
You know what? I hate that game. Why do you guys always do the word association?
It's just fun.
It seems like every time I get on a radio show, they want to do word association.
All right,
it's
well,
terrible. It is terrible.
You want to play Monopoly?
I love Monopoly. I have it on my phone.
All right, compromise. One name. We'll mention one name, and you give us your first thoughts.
All right, go ahead.
Let's go with Jim Cornette.
Oh man, now that was a hard one.
Well, you only let me do one, so I had to come up with a good one.
That's a hard one. I mean, how would I explain him in one word? One
phrase.
Why don't I just tell you what I think?
Yeah, first thing that pops in your head.
Yep. I'll go do that. I think Jim Cornette is one of the best out there. I really enjoyed him being here at TNA, and it's sad to see him go. Him and I always got along very well. He made sure he got things done, but unfortunately, things didn't work out between some people and him in the office. Apparently, I really don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. But
man, I loved having him around. And I hope that he knows that. I'm gonna have to give him a call and tell him that I missed him. Being here even this past Sunday, because working with him, it was a pleasure.
October 24th in Racine. What should we expect to see at that big house show from TNA Wrestling? First time in town in Racine, and then going to Green Bay the night after on October 25th.
They should expect total nonstop action. That's what we do, man. We give you stuff that you're not going to see anywhere else. Physically, you may not be able to, physically they just can't do what we can do in a ring. Mm-hmm. And I'm talking about our competitors.
Right.
We have the best athletes in the world working for TNA, and it doesn't get much better.
Well, AJ Styles, thank you very much for your time here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We look forward to seeing you. We're actually going to be out in Los Angeles at Bound for Glory, and then obviously here in Racine at that house show as well. So looking forward to seeing you. And again, congratulations on the great week, as you said, returning home to Gainesville, the birth of a new child, and becoming TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate you having me on your show.
Thank you very much, AJ. We'll be right back here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
540 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and now at ESPNMilwaukee.com as well. We apologize for the brief technical difficulty in the first segment of the show. We are streaming live at PWRshow.com, ESPNMilwaukee.com, and all over southeastern Wisconsin on 540 ESPN. Also, some problems at PWRshow.com with the chatmosphere right now, so you can go ahead and visit our TalkShoe link to participate in the live chat tonight. But let's talk about the most important thing, which is TNA World Heavyweight Champion. We just got off the phone with AJ Styles. Really a class act.
The most important thing is why you got to do the whole thing by yourself.
Yeah. Way to lock the door on us.
So we got under. I appreciate the three of you going out and taking care of the stream and the chatmosphere while I was conducting that scheduled interview. Thank you.
Yeah.
You and the world champion.
Apparently, I'm the technician
you
in
and
the house.
Dragon are in cahoots. Oh, no, we're on break for another 5 minutes. Just keep working.
If we were in cahoots, we wouldn't have had to repair those issues.
Yeah.
But no one cares about that. What they do care about is how they can call us and talk to us, and that number is 276-ESPN, 276-3776, or 1-800-990-ESPN, 1-800-990-3776. AJ Styles, gentlemen, TNA World Heavyweight Champion, just discussed a lot of things in his first interview since becoming the World Heavyweight Champion. Your thoughts on AJ not only becoming the champ, but the interview that we just had with him?
Class act. And told the company line, as a good champion would do at this point. When you did ask him, where's the direction of the company headed, of course he's going to say it's headed in the right direction. He is saying the right things, and you're looking for a nugget to come out, and there was
not an Owen Hart.
You're looking for a nugget to come out, and it wasn't there. But he was class act, and I think he's got a long reign ahead of him.
I don't know if it's a long reign or not. I think
it is a long reign. I really think this is going to be at least 6 months.
6 months? Wow.
Yeah. Why not?
I think he'll be in the mix.
There may be there's still a Bobby Lashley, a rumored Ken Anderson.
There is.
Kurt Angle's going to want the title back.
I
Matt
think
Morgan.
I think it's going to be a good 6 months.
You have to put it on AJ Styles. And this Friday on PWRshow.com, we're going to go in depth on AJ Styles as well during our primetime show, and you'll hear some more of the thoughts that we have on AJ Styles. But just to kind of sum it up for myself and to kind of wrap it up for myself, the guy did exactly what he's supposed to do, and he, as Frank said, is the company guy. And right now, he's the public image, if you will, instead of
he's the homegrown star of TNA.
Now, would you agree that there are a lot of fans that wanted him to have this title again?
Oh yeah, I mean AJ Styles is one of the more popular guys in the company.
So what they will do then, in my opinion, is give that enough time, not only for what the fans want, but then they will look at it from a marketing side. Is this working? Are we selling more tickets? Are we selling more merchandise? As our champion,
I don't think AJ Styles will have the belt at Christmas time.
Okay.
I hope I'm wrong. He's a talented guy, and I think if they're going to actually, ride someone's back, it should be AJ Styles.
Mm-hmm.
Because
who's a big Monopoly fan.
Well, yeah, and he's the kind of guy that can go out there and go an hour if he has to.
If he has to. Yeah. I would like to see 6 months. I really would. And then
6 months would take him all the way up to, I believe,
February.
Against all odds. Is that about right?
February, March time
February,
frame?
March. Damien, what's your flight itinerary on that one?
Not booked yet.
We'll see what happens.
Dave, I got to perpetuate it. You weren't doing it there. I took over.
Hey, by all means. Yeah, absolutely. No, I think that they made the right call to AJ Styles. I think Kurt Angle, as great of a talent as he is, I think it's time to now go in a different direction.
Because how long did Kurt have the title for?
With the interruption in between?
I can't think of a time when he hasn't had it. With the exception of the whole Mick Foley,
right.
spot.
Yeah.
That's been about
an interruption in between. A little fart in the wind there.
A title shot is a fart in the wind.
Well, title reign. He had a title reign that was a fart in the wind.
Let's go to the Pro Wrestling Report phone lines, of which you can be a part. The number 276-3776 or 1-800-990-3776. Online one, we have Steve from Heartland, Wisconsin. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
Just had a couple of questions for you, actually. I was kind of surprised that they threw the belt on him at this last pay-per-view. I was thinking they were going to have Sting win it and him take it over. I'm not sure if it's for sure or if it's still rumor about Sting,
Don't
retiring.
you think that it would have made it very, very predictable then? If it became a Sting-AJ match?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because if it's his farewell, then everybody knows he's going to drop the title. Secondly, two other questions for you real quickly. The second one is as far as I'm going to go to the WWE. The ECW side with Regal, what do you think his chances of getting the title this time around are?
Better than expected, but I think the only thing really that's important on ECW is
that does make me laugh every time.
It does, doesn't it?
If they put the ECW title on William Regal, that's the last nail in the coffin for ECW.
Really?
Oh, come on.
That's Dave Hero, by the way.
You're Steve, though. You're a fan of Steven Regal, though, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
William
Regal. I think he's one of the best talents they have. He does it all. He can talk, he can work, whatnot. But no one's going to tune in to ECW to see William Regal as their champion.
They do need a heel there. They haven't. I mean, they need a heel.
No one cares that Christian's the champion right now.
Yeah. Does. And thirdly, and I'm sure you guys may talk about this later, but read this afternoon about Bret Hart returning. You guys going to be talking about that later, or not returning? Rumored to be returning.
Dave Hero might have something to say on that later.
Oh, we're certainly that's on the topic list to cover here tonight. Bret Hart's rumored return to WWE.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Thank you, Steve from Heartland. We said earlier that our other guest tonight is going to be Traci Brooks. We did previously announce that Ken Anderson would be joining us tonight. However, due to a schedule conflict, he has been rescheduled to a later date. We'll, of course, announce at PWRshow.com what date he will be with us. However, coming up next Wednesday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time, start time, our guest is the Blueprint, Matt Morgan. Matt Morgan joining us live next week on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Nothing.
You're going to throw to me or something?
Y'all were all
We're
firmed
waiting.
up yet like you had something to say.
Look,
but
there's been many have said that, I like to interrupt and, interject, and I'm trying.
Are you calling them
trying.
liars?
No, I'm saying I'm trying to change my ways.
Gentlemen, it was brought up, and we were going to talk to Ken about it tonight, but there is this new
Traci.
Hulkamania tour going around down under in Australia. Several names have been announced. Obviously, Ken Anderson, one of those names announced. A couple more names, Big Daddy V, Viscera, who's now known as King V, John Heidenreich,
Heidenreich.
Ric Flair, British Beefcake, the Nasty Boys, Godfather. He's going to leave his daytime job. Actually, his nighttime job.
It's a nighttime job.
Orlando Jordan, Rumaga, he's called now. Gangrel and Rikishi. So some big names on this tour. Gentlemen, your thoughts on this Hulkamania tour going on down in Australia?
Tour. My thoughts are it's Hulkamania. There's an L and a K in there, not a W and a K. You know what? It's a moneymaker for Australia because how many times, honestly, does the WWE or TNA or any big company tour Australia?
Rare, if once a year.
TNA has announced a big tour down there. WWE goes down often.
They go to what?
WWE goes down to Australia often, at least once a year.
Once a year. Okay, so
how often can they go down there?
Twice a year. I mean, they do Europe 2 to 3. They do Europe 2 to 3 times a year.
To get to Australia.
Well, I understand that, but still,
I think it'll work because there are a lot of wrestlers that you named that people haven't seen in a while. Those are fans that they granted maybe once a year they get to see these guys, so it may work, but not an every year thing.
I don't consider this show a real wrestling tour. I just think it's a cash cow for Hogan and Bischoff and Flair. They're going to make a ton of cash doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And people that are going to this, they're not expecting to see
wrestling.
Steamboat Savage. They know it's going to be Hogan and Flair. They'll do the spot where Flair bounces over the top turnbuckle. Hogan gives the boot, drops the elbow. 1, 2, 3.
Right.
He'll say he can't do the leg drop
and
anymore.
Here's the thing: Ric Flair won't even be the heel. I mean, they'll both be the baby faces.
Yeah.
They'll both have their arms, raised together at the end of the night. It's going to be a huge moneymaker for everybody involved.
So it'll work.
It's going to be huge. It'll be a big success.
Yeah.
Is that something that the Booker man, Dave Hero, would put together?
I would love to put that show together because it would sell out. If you get the buildings that are like the 10 to 15,000 seat buildings,
your arenas.
Yeah.
Let's go to the phones on line one. We have Anthony from Helmar. You're live on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey there, guys.
Hey,
Anthony.
About the Hulkamania tour, it has promise, I admit, but hopefully it turns out better than that Heroes of Wrestling thing they were trying to do in 1990.
Oh, believe me, Jake Roberts won't be there. Yeah.
That sends up your cost right away.
About the AJ.
Open bar and reception.
I'm probably like everybody who's happy that AJ's finally gotten the belt, but hopefully they don't do like with Joe. They waited so long. When they finally got it, I was like, okay, he's champ, but
trust me,
what
there'll
now?
be people in the IWC that'll drop all over it. AJ, after 2 weeks, they'll say, he's not doing this, not doing that. AJ needs to drop the belt now. He's useless.
No,
There's going to be your group of people that say that.
Yeah, true, but AJ's been able to do better with all kinds of guys. He's done decent with Nash, Angle, and all those. So I think the Sting match will be good at Bound for Glory.
Yeah, I don't think Joe hasn't done well. I mean, if you're using that as a comparison, I don't think Joe hasn't done well with other guys. It's just that the steam off of Joe, faded quickly.
The AJ Sting match will be good because of AJ Styles.
Correct.
Exactly. And he's more versatile than Samoa Joe.
That's not necessarily true.
That's why Shawn Michaels was always so good with guys like Hulk Hogan at SummerSlam and Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
Shawn Michaels is the motion in the match, and that's what AJ Styles will be. He'll be the motion in the match.
Correct.
One more thing about Raw. If they ever do end this celebrity thing, which I kind of hope will be soon, and if they're able to have Jim Cornette be the new Raw GM.
Jim Cornette won't be showing up in the E very soon.
You know what? You
soon.
never know.
You never know.
Never wrestling. We got it, but
got Bret Hart.
Jim Cornette, they have. What do you mean they got Bret Hart?
There's been rumors that they want to bring him in
Rumors.
as a kind of
There's been rumors
character.
that Damian Nelson's been hired by TNA, but they're just rumors.
Yeah, to finish up the catering.
Poor Damian, that damn catering.
Anyways, I
eat
can
again.
guarantee you that Cornette will not be there in 2009. There you go. How about that?
Well, there's only a few months left. That's a pretty safe bet.
It's
Right,
a safer
it's like
bet.
The
Well, we do
sun's
know
going to
that
come up tomorrow.
all indications are they're going to continue this guest
There's
host
no end
gimmick
to
all
it.
the way through the end of the year.
Yeah,
So
Dennis
that pretty much
Miller's
limits
going to
you.
be on there next.
Let's go to Elliot from New York. Elliot, you're live on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Hey guys.
Hey, Elliot. What's up?
First thing I want to say is I don't think I'm gonna get blasted for this. Too soon for AJ.
Too soon for AJ. When would you have liked to have seen it happen?
Bound for Glory.
Bound for Glory against Sting.
Could have meant more.
It really would have. It really would have. I think so. You know, it's still gonna have the significance of the final last match thing, but it would have been more significant if Sting won it Sunday, and then going in.
But like we talked about with Steve from Heartland, we said that doesn't that make it, just 100% predictable?
Well, not true because I didn't expect either one of them to be the main event at Bound for Glory. Remember the whole hype for the main event for Bound for Glory was Lashley Angle.
Right.
That's
what
happen.
it should have been.
That's what it should have been. That's where we said the money would have been.
Doesn't even look like it's going in that direction, though.
It's not.
Based off the spoilers from this week.
But also, I didn't read it. Thanks.
No, I didn't tell you what happened. It doesn't look like it's going in that direction. Sorry.
The Lashley thing. It wouldn't have made sense to give him a title shot. He had his debut match against Rhino, and then the next month he would be in the main event. Wouldn't have made sense.
No, but they also have a few weeks of TV to build it up to mean something also.
Right. We are out of time for this particular segment, Elliot. We've got Traci Brooks when we come back right here on the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Damian Nelson, the band they call Meathead, along with the Kaz and David Hero. It with you live Wednesday night, September the 23rd. And coming off the heels of our guest earlier tonight, AJ Styles, we've got another guest, Traci Brooks. Traci Brooks, welcome to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Welcome, Traci.
How are you?
I'm fine. And, I'm a Leo. I love long walks on the beach. And after seeing the pictorial, I think I'm in love.
That's right. Absolutely. It's no longer TNA's Traci Brooks. It is now Playboy's
right.
Traci Brooks.
That's right. It was awesome. Did you guys like the picture?
Oh, who didn't like
it? Yeah.
Like I said, I think I'm in love.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? How long of a day was it? Explain a little bit.
It was actually 3 days. So I was actually gone for 5. They flew me in. I had a meeting with them, and then we shot Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then actually I think it was the 19th, 20th, and 21st of May. And the next day I flew home was actually my birthday, so it was an amazing time. It was incredible. It was in Santa Monica at the Playboy Studios. It's incredible just to see how their production and stuff like that, how they change things around so fast with the shots and everything. It's just from top to bottom, it was an incredible experience. So it was a lifelong dream, and I'd never want to do another photo shoot again because I think I'm going to be disappointed. I can never get a better photographer than Arnie Freitag. He was absolutely incredible, and this made me feel so comfortable. And I think the pictorial was really me. It wasn't, how you look at pictures sometimes of girls and you're like, that's not her.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I really think it looked like me, and it captured just the I just loved it. So.
And let's make it be known that Playboy, they actually went to you, right, Traci?
Yes. It was actually really cool because I was over in Iraq actually visiting the troops in March, and I got home and my agent gave me a call and said that Playboy was interested in shooting me. And so we kind of brought it to TNA to say, hey, would this be something you guys are interested in to kind of incorporate? And we decided to kind of base it around Bound for Glory in October. So it was cool that we got to do that, and hopefully it opened the doors for more TNA knockouts, and hopefully. And
you make a good point. You were the first TNA talent to appear in the publication Playboy, and certainly getting a lot of publicity from that.
Yeah, but everything I've heard has been awesome and very positive and stuff like that. And actually next week on TNA, Christy, Hemi, and I have a battle of the Playboy Bunnies match. So make sure you guys tune into that.
What was the dress for that match?
You'll have to watch.
It's all about the ratings. There you go.
Can we get some exclusive preview photos?
You guys will have to watch.
Speaking of the dress and speaking of Playboy, we were wondering how does your family react to, having, say their little girl or say their sister or say their significant other nude in Playboy magazine?
I obviously asked my fiance if he was cool with it, and he was my number one supporter. Like, he was hands down my biggest supporter. And of course I asked my parents, but I want them to respect everything I do. And
well, and better they know than getting it from somebody else.
Hey,
after it's out.
Girl. So definitely, I told them, and they're like, hey, you're old enough to make your own decisions. But they're really happy for me, and there's really pretty pictures and classy pictures that I'm not embarrassed. And I know it wouldn't embarrass my family or friends by doing it. And again, Playboy's such a great, prestigious, wonderful magazine that it's just nothing but classy. So
yeah, exactly. That's the word, classy.
There was no one that wasn't supportive.
Tracy, with now with the Playboy out and of course Bound for Glory coming up, and you're traveling all over the place, is your visa in order? I mean, are you able to go to Canada now?
You are Canadian, by the way.
I use MasterCard, not Visa.
Sometimes Visa's not everywhere you want to be.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm all good. I'm good. So I'll be around here for a while.
Now, it just seems like the TNA Knockouts, it keeps growing. They now have brought in Lacey Von Erich as part of the Beautiful People.
Well, spoiler alert.
Well, no,
Thanks, Dave.
It's common knowledge.
No, it's not. People like to watch the shows without spoilers, Dave. Thanks.
What
do you think Dave?
What do you think about Lacey, Tracy?
I don't know. That was a surprise, but no, she was really cool, and she was well accepted backstage. I didn't really get a chance to talk to her or anything. That was actually my first time meeting her, which I'm surprised because I do a lot of independent. So, but that was my first time meeting her, and she seemed really great. And I don't think the Beautiful People needed anyone. I think Madison Rain and Velvet Sky do an incredible job, and I think Madison Rain really picked up the slack wrestling-wise. Because Angelina Willow was a great bumper, and she was a really good wrestler, and I'll always say that. And I think Madison really stepped up her game.
She wore the Hornets,
the bee suit.
The bee suit. I mean, that was amazing.
What was that?
Oh, I said the bee suit when she came on the beekeeper suit.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
That was hilarious.
You know what? No one ever did that as good as Charmel. Did it.
Speaking of TNA, obviously, as we talked about with AJ Styles earlier in this program, obviously a lot of changes going on in TNA wrestling. We had TNA President Dixie Carter on a couple of weeks ago, and she told us, quite frankly, that those changes would be happening. I'm not sure, and she didn't go into specifics, but obviously some changes to the creative side of things, to the production end of things, and some on-camera changes. What's your take on what's going on in TNA wrestling right now?
I'm gonna miss Road Dogg and Jim Cornette. I mean, obviously they're gone for a reason, and TNA's obviously done everything correct. They've never taken a step backwards in TNA. They always seem to take a step forward, from the Asylum in Nashville to Fox Sports to an hour on Spike TV at 11 to 2 hours on Spike TV at 9. We've never stepped backwards. Everything has been a positive thing going forward, so obviously they know what they're doing. But personally, Road Dogg and Cornette I was a big fan of Cornette's, and I love listening to him talk. And
he made you Knockout Law. Yeah,
exactly. But I mean, it's their own reasons, and D'Lo and Pat Kenny were obviously welcoming, and I mean they were there with us before, and hopefully Cornette and Road Dogg will come back in the future because they're great guys.
We do understand that door is open. We did have Road Dogg on the program last week.
He's likely the funniest guy I've ever. He's so.
He had a lot of favorable things to say about TNA and the talents in TNA, so hopefully things can all work out in that regard.
He was, to me, he was just because I love old school wrestling, but he was such a great, because he was, look at his family history, he grew up in wrestling, but he was right involved in the whole attitude change of wrestling. And so it's such a great transition of old school into the new era kind of thing. So, no one understands it better than him, I think.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. You're listening to Tracy Brooks of TNA Wrestling and Playboy. Tracy, the WWE Divas versus the TNA Knockouts. In a minute and 30 seconds or less, what do you have to say?
Both companies have great women. I'm not going to knock either one or say which one's better. The Divas are hot and sexy and talented. Gail Kim, obviously one of my best friends, is there, and their division's got great. Our division is amazing and brought their level up more, I think, when we started. We have a really big diversity in our group.
Yeah.
And I think every woman brings up their own character, and not everyone's a typical blonde, blue-eyed, girl. We have a wide range of varieties.
Yeah.
So,
And
yeah,
obviously, just adding the TNA Knockout Tag Team Championships was a huge step as well.
definitely, and I think Sarah Rita and Taylor are incredible. I think they're amazing. I always want to staple their feet to the ground to see what happens, but I think they're incredible talent, and it's just amazing. Sarah Rita really brought a different aspect into our female wrestling. Like, she's like a little Mexican jumping bean, and she's Canadian, of course. So
a Canadian Mexican jumping bean.
Yes, exactly.
A Canadian that doesn't speak English.
All right,
exactly,
Traci Brooks, thank you very much for your time. The links to those photos of from Playboy are available at our website, pwrshow.com, so make sure you check those out. Traci, the best of luck to you. We look forward to talking to you again soon, and thank you very much for the time here on the Pro Wrestling Report.
And if you see Kaz, tell me say hello.
I will. Oh, and October 1st, there's new pictures coming out. Don't forget.
Oh, yeah. All right. This is the Pro Wrestling
Ding, ding.
Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.
For over 10 years, the world's #1 source for professional wrestling news and information. And once again, here's your hosts, Damian Nelson, Frank Cosentino, and the man they call Meathead. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. We're live Wednesday night, September 23rd, 2009. Just got off the line with Traci Brooks and that link where you can see those photos Traci was talking about.
Make sure that you're at least 18.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah, because Cal, the intern,
Traci is Cal's prom date.
that's what I heard. I read it
on
on your Facebook.
It's at playboy.com/Traci. And as she said, there will be new photos available on October 1st.
Just in case.
ACI.
Thank you.
Alpha
Just in
Right.
case.
Special thanks to Traci for spending some time with us to talk about that Playboy shoot. Some insightful things. I thought they all happened at the mansion.
No.
Yeah, I didn't know
I thought
that
Hep took the
was
pictures
done.
himself.
Well, back in the day, he
Thought he had
probably
a camera in that robe.
While
I'm
he was
sure he does have a camera in that room.
while he was puffing on a corncob pipe.
Let's talk about a couple of things that happened this week in wrestling history. A lot of title changes and one big birthday. Happy birthday goes out to Matt Hardy, born on this day actually in 1974. So happy birthday, Matt Hardy. Turning, looks like, 35 years old this week. Also, Kurt Angle defeated Steve Austin for the WWF Championship in 2001. Christian defeating Edge for the Intercontinental Champion. Rhino defeating Tajiri for the United States Championship of WCW in WWE in 2001. And the WWE Tag Team titles change hands when Hurricane and Kane, defeated Kristen and Lance Storm. And just in case you want to continue to keep track, Mark Merrow defeated Farouk in the tournament final of the WWF Intercontinental Championship.
I always had something against Mark Merrow. He dogged us on an autograph
Remember
session
when it was it the XFL, whatever they called it, XWF? XWF?
Yes.
Okay. And he came out with that streamer thing, and
that was in WCW, dude.
Well, no,
that was WCW.
But also in the XWF.
Yeah, he redid it.
The short-lived promotion with the Nasty Boys and
Piper and Hogan
right.
and Jimmy
Sable,
Hart
yeah.
and now Vampiro and all that.
good times.
Vampiro!
As alluded to earlier by one of our callers, there are strong rumors out there that Bret Hart might be considering a return to WWE, and from what I've heard, I don't believe it. Rumored to actually be stepping back into the ring. Gentlemen, your thoughts on the possibility of this happening?
Not just what you've heard, but apparently you've looked into the man's eyes.
He's pure evil. I've seen it. The date was March 13th, 1997.
Yeah.
I stood 2 feet away from him.
Bret Hart physically, if he trained maybe for a year, could do a 5-minute match.
Well, let's give some history here before we talk more about this. Bret Hart suffered, I believe it was a stroke, and has been not in the best of shape ever since that, in addition to the concussion that took him out of the business. So he hasn't been in a ring.
As given to him by Goldberg, basically ending his wrestling career.
He hasn't been in a ring since 2000 or 2001 as a professional wrestler, and that's, again, why I'm having difficulty believing this. But carry on, Meathead.
Bret Hart, you know what? It'd be nice to see him out on the circuit. Maybe doing an indie show here, or an autograph signing here.
Well, he might do autograph signings, but he's not going to, he's not going to do the indie circuit.
Well, he was in Chicago just last weekend at the Ring of Honor show in Chicago Ridge, and unfortunately I was not able to make it to that show, but Bret Hart's still obviously traveling with and doing that.
On
doing
the circuit?
That, going out and getting the opportunity to be seen by the fans.
I've heard through some pretty good sources that Bret Hart will be back in a WWE ring in the desert.
In a ring?
Oh, yeah. He has one more match left in him.
You sure it's going to be in a ring?
All of a sudden he has one more match in him.
Well, if he's going to have one more match left.
He has said many a time he will never wrestle again.
But if it's against Vince McMahon at a WrestleMania, he will come out for one last match.
That's money.
It's
money.
That's a money match.
And it'll be a street fight so he can hide any problems that he may have.
Exactly. You don't have to jump off the top rope to do much of anything.
You're going to have to run the ropes in a street fight.
No, I mean, think about it. All the last few matches that Vince has been in, they've all been street fights.
Well, it's a way to mask
the
other
fact
things.
that he can't run the ropes.
Yeah. And you know what? It'll sell a lot of tickets.
Absolutely, it'll sell a lot of tickets. They could build that for months.
Well, the good part about it is it's the match, or would be the match, that nobody, including the four of us, I would say, thought they would ever see.
No.
Given the situation in 1997, given his departure to WCW, given the fact that he's really only done one thing since, two things since with WWE, and that was be inducted into the Hall of Fame and participate in the DVD.
Given the fact that Bret Hart had many, many times said Vince McMahon killed his brother.
Yeah,
given the fact,
and they have since,
but Bret Hart has said this over and over. And
believe me, a paycheck heals everything.
Really? Because you haven't paid me yet.
Well, nothing's been healed.
Well, now we got heat.
So.
It is a rumor. It is a rumor for now. But if it would happen, and it would happen at WrestleMania in March, I could see it being one of the most highest-rated WrestleManias of all time, if they build it correctly.
Well, it was also rumored, too, that Hogan and Austin were going to get that one match, too.
Well,
and that
but
never came
we're talking about what just came out in the last couple of days.
Well, guys, we've seen Bret Hart. We've seen his condition. We've seen the way he looks. You saw him at the Hall of Fame induction a couple of years ago, which was one of his last public television appearances. I'm sorry, I just can't buy the fact that he can get in the ring and do anything.
In a street fight, you can hide it. It doesn't have to be half an hour.
I respect that. I get that. But
what about the build-up? What
appearance.
about the build-up to that? Even if the match is a street fight, what about the build-up to that? That means he's going to have to walk up to the ring. Something's got to happen in the ring.
They've already planted the seeds when they did the Montreal Screwjob Part 2.
They do that every 2 years. What do you mean Part 2? That was Part 8.
No, but it was in Montreal.
I got that
it was
feeling.
On a pay-per-view.
I got that Survivor Series feeling.
Dave, you're reading way too much into it.
No, it all makes sense. You watch by Survivor Series, there'll be a whole lot of Bret Hart references.
David Hero believes Bret Hart will actually wrestle in 2010.
He will be there at Royal Rumble, and everything will be set up for WrestleMania.
David Hero once again believes Bret Hart will wrestle in 2010.
One more match.
Frank, will it happen, yes or no?
I think it will.
2 yes. Meathead, will it happen, yes or no? You say no. I don't.
Oh, come on. It's yes or no.
You know what? If he says yes, circle the calendar that Meathead and Damien agreed on the same day.
It's happened more than you think.
Damien, you're leaning towards no.
I am leaning towards
well,
no.
then say it.
I'm going to have to go ahead and sort of disagree with you there.
Another rumored return.
Everyone likes. Okay, look at Ricky Steamboat. Who would have thought he would have come back for one more match?
He can still go,
but he can
Bret
still
can
work.
Still go.
Yeah, look at Shawn Michaels. He came back after
he
back
can.
in, whoever would have thought
he came back part time 7 years ago.
Hulk Hogan had his
hip
back
replaced
redone,
and his hip
well,
replaced.
and to that
he's
point,
going to wrestle again too.
No, yes, you're right. Okay, those two are going to wrestle again. They better have a street fight.
Well, you think Hogan
can't do the leg drop anymore? True or false?
At Broadway? Of
True.
course not.
But Dave, we got to see Hogan do the leg drop. The leg drop is signature.
He can't.
We will be there in Phoenix, and we'll be watching Bret Hart versus Vince McMahon.
This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We're live Wednesday night, September 23rd, Matt Hardy's birthday. Damian Nelson, Dave Hero, the Kaz, and the man they call Meathead. Traci Brooks so far tonight AJ Styles as well. Ken Anderson was not able to appear, but we'll have him on a later date. Next week, the Blueprint, Matt Morgan.
And I'm glad you got that right today also.
Got what right?
Well, the Blueprint. That's who he is.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that, Dave.
Yeah.
And Dave also got his introduction done right because it's not the man they call Meathead, Dave Hero.
We were talking before the break about the chances of Bret Hart potentially returning to the ring, and also Hulk Hogan.
Answer.
Yeah, the soundbite answered for me. That way I can get out of it.
He disagreed with you two guys.
That's fine. He can be wrong once in a while.
Twice a year. That's my quota.
Twice a year.
SmackDown celebrates its 10th anniversary, I believe, next week. It's a special 3-hour SmackDown. I'm not sure how that's all going to work because the network only has 2 hours of time, but be that as it may, a rumored return for that 10th anniversary special is none other than
The Rock.
Excuse me?
Oh, no. Oh, no. She must have got through her hospital stay from the swine flu.
Wow.
Vicky Guerrero. I said a couple weeks ago, in due time, she will be back. Once this guest host thing is over, I think it's the WWE's benefit to bring her back because of the amazing amount of heat she had.
But Edge is no longer there, so why bring her back?
She still has heat. Edge will be back. He's not gone forever.
You think it's a one-time deal just because it's a 10th anniversary show?
Oh, no. Damian believes that she's back.
No. I'm saying this is a one-time deal. I said eventually after the guest host thing, I think it's smart to bring her back. They want to get back to some normalcy.
But do you really think people are going to care? They're going to tune in to see
about Al Sharpton?
Vicky Guerrero on SmackDown?
Yes, they will.
Nobody's tuning in for Al Sharpton.
Everybody will tune in for Al Sharpton. Controversy creates what?
That's going to be a huge controversy.
Yeah, but it'll be a huge dud. It will not be
just like Bob Barker was?
No,
that's what we said before he was.
I never said Bob Barker would be a dud. Never.
Don't get hot about him, either.
I will say that all she had to do was come out and say, "Excuse me," and then wait for the crowd, and then say, "Excuse me," and the crowd.
That's it.
That's it.
All she has to do is walk out and stand there.
I can't believe that she's confirmed for it, though. That's the part that just drives me nuts.
She's confirmed for it?
Oh, yeah. She's going to be there. It's a done deal.
I think it's great. 10-year anniversary of SmackDown, Vicky Guerrero. I think it's great.
Be a one-time.
When you think of 10 years of SmackDown, I don't think of Vicky Guerrero.
I think of the wrestling god.
No.
JBL. Champion for 10 months.
They need to pony up the cash and bring The Rock back.
Not going to happen.
It's not a cash issue as much with The Rock as it is a perception issue with his acting career.
I mean, he's got
people
more
tell
movies.
him, don't go back and do that.
He's got more movies lined up, back and back and back, unless he's doing a,
The next one's with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah, they're a buddy cop or cop buddy story.
I think for the right kind of movie, he might make an appearance at some sort. If it's another action movie, that they might do it, where he'll come back and
his next appearance in the WWE will be for his induction in the Hall of Fame.
The Rock?
Yeah.
No, he'll be back before then.
No.
A one-off kind of thing.
Okay, but how long has it been now?
Well,
a minute.
About a minute.
No, since he inducted his.
No, since he's been active in the ring.
Wrestler, at least 5 years.
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
Because then pretty soon, it won't be next year, but it may be the year after.
He's shrunk quite a bit too, has The Rock.
And don't you think that would be almost 7 years? He won't. I don't think it'll be this year in Phoenix, but wherever they go a year after.
Well, who's the big name in Phoenix this year then?
Apparently, it's Bret Hart.
At WrestleMania Wrestling.
No.
Well, the rumor
I'm talking
is
about the Hall of. No, I was talking about the Hall of Fame. Who's the big inducted name?
A couple things about the Hall of Fame.
KKB.
They have moved it from the arena to a smaller, more intimate venue, which I think was one of the problems over the last couple of years, is going to a larger venue.
Damien, you and I understand that Amway one that they did in Orlando,
that
was terrible.
And
it was terrible.
It is also stated that they are not going to need to necessarily focus on a main eventer for the Hall of Fame each and every year, as they have done, because they did have the Rocks of the world to present and other people that can be involved. They may not need, because eventually they're going to potentially run out of names.
Well, you know what's interesting is the Ultimate Warrior lives in Phoenix.
Yeah.
So does the Honky Tonk Man.
Who would be Oh boy, that'd be really hard to
Well,
get the Ultimate
Warrior will never go in there, obviously. But
I would never say never on him.
No, I
either.
would say never. On
Really?
That one. Yeah. That's a lock.
Wow. Okay.
But hopefully King Kong Bundy finally gets in.
The KKB.
Hey, he was on Raw this past Monday night.
Yes, he was. And just think about it. In Phoenix is where King Kong Bundy laid out Hulk Hogan leading up to WrestleMania 2.
Remember, Damien, you just said they may run out of wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
If they're able to put Coco Beware in there, everyone is available.
They're essentially going to
Booger.
run out of wrestlers that anybody is going to care about.
That's when they lay down the Hall of Fame gimmick for a few.
You got to start our lobby. Start an
hold
online
on.
petition for Kamala, Frank.
You know what, though? Keep in mind,
I should.
they still have The Rock. They still have Shawn Michaels. They'll still have there's still a lot of guys that they can eventually put in there.
Triple H. Vince McMahon himself.
Yeah. I'm sure they might get
That's
Bruno
right.
Piper in?
Hold on. Yeah,
Piper's in.
That's the one they do this year. If you're going to have your Bret Hart match, you put Vince in the Hall of Fame.
Lord
Next,
Alfred
induct him.
Hayes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put in Lord Alfred Hayes.
Be posthumous. This is the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. Welcome back to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN, ESPNMilwaukee.com, and PWRShow.com. Remember, you can also now listen to the Pro Wrestling Report live on your iPhone. Go to ESPNMilwaukee.com to get all the information on that. And sitting here alongside the man they call Dave Hero, the Kaz, and the man they call Meathead. I had to reverse my order recently.
Wow.
Let's go to the VI3, boys. Pick the top 3 talents of the wrestling business this week. 1 male, 1 female, and 1 tag team. And let's start with the man they call Dave Hero.
I guess I'm going to go with my singles will be Jack. No, I'm going to go with The Miz. He's been creative, grabbing the U.S. title. Tag team, Jericho. They're going to take it to John Cena next week. And you got to go with Tracy Brooks. Playboy.com/Tracy.
With an I.
With an I.
Frank Cosentino, the Kaz.
I'll also go with Tracy Brooks as the female. The tag team will go to Legacy, and the singles will go to AJ Styles.
Singles has obviously got to go to the AJ Styles. My female goes to Mickey, who is still the Divas champion, even though the belt to me means nothing. And my tag team is Bear. Somebody?
Money.
Thank you.
And the definitive VI3, the one all of you tuned in to listen to tonight. Top of my list goes to the new World Heavyweight Champion of TNA Wrestling, AJ Styles. Congratulations again go out to him. Female spot goes to Beth Phoenix, who I don't think is getting enough credit as she deserves as of late in the business. And the tag team spot, just like me, that goes out to Beer Money. Want to make sure all of you remember to tune in to the Pro Wrestling Report prime time this Friday night. PWRShow.com is the place to see it, and Time Warner Cable Channel 14. I'm going to talk about each show in depth on AJ Styles, the current TNA World Heavyweight Champion. We're going to talk about TNA No Surrender, which was last Sunday on pay-per-view as well, a little bit more detail on that pay-per-view event. But let's talk about one thing from Impact last week, and that was Rhino's promo. I tell you, I have bashed Rhino every chance I got on this show. The Rhino we saw last Thursday, that is the Rhino we need to be seeing every week.
Well, that was the Rhino that was the ECW champion Rhino. That's not the Rhino that Edge and Christian pulled out, out of their little bag as a joke. That was the real Rhino.
You know that was a joke?
No. The Edge and Christian pulling Rhino out. Get the Rhino. No, that was the joke Rhino.
Really?
No, yeah, it was a joke. Right when he debuted in WWF, he was a joke.
I thought he was a monster when he debuted.
No, in WWF. He was a joke to Edge and Christian.
He was put over as one, but not, in my opinion, able to be bought.
It was a joke. One. No, that was ECW Rhino right there. That was the champion Rhino.
Where did it all of a sudden come from? Where all of a sudden it's like,
well, he's heel now.
Rhino?
After the Justin Neal thing, he's
built up
he's
anger
heel now.
Yeah,
it was just very well done. It was very intense, very well timed, very well done, very well placed, and it had some meaning behind it. And I think that is a Rhino that can be a benefit to TNA.
So maybe that's why he was squashed by Bobby Lashley.
Well, come on.
All of
was
that
there any chance he wasn't going to be
well,
squashed?
No, but here's the thing. How certain guys get upset. Like when Vader did the job to Kane and lost his mask and got all frustrated and they thought he'd go on a monster run.
Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe now that was Rhino's wake-up call for him. And that's why they booked him to lose to Lashley like that, so they could reinvent his character.
That's a good point.
Well, it's working.
And, you know,
because now he can be mad about that, as you said, Dave.
Well, he's hot. He's saying it, too.
See how long that lasts. I thought it was very well done. One of the highlights of Impact. I don't think we needed the Devon addition to that.
In the 3D period.
The mention of ECW.
Frank, you're not a fan of 3D.
No. Here's the thing, though. Every time they mention ECW of old, how much of their fan base knows what they're talking about? The fan base,
worse,
that are watching on Spike TV.
Damien,
especially on TV.
Damien, even worse, and Dave, even worse, when they mention ECW, wouldn't the normal fan just think of WWF ECW?
Exactly. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? And we'll talk about that as we talk about TNA No Surrender this week on PWR Prime Time, our video show available as well, and that's going to be at pwrshow.com.
Also available on iTunes.
Next week, Matt Morgan, the Blueprint Matt Morgan, joins us right here on this very program.
We'll be at 8 o'clock Central next Wednesday.
Indeed, very good, Frank. Frank's always good with the times and such.
Yeah, he knows the dates. You did well this last week in all the expresses.
I'm starting to write them down.
Yeah, well, I mean, you relied on an intern, and not that Cal wasn't getting it right, because he was.
Oh, Cal's great. Cal's probably our best intern yet.
You kept telling him the wrong dates, and he just wrote it down.
Like I said, Cal's probably our best intern yet.
Yeah, well, he's got Tracy Brooks. Yeah, he's got Tracy Brooks going to the prom with him.
Tracy Brooks talked earlier about Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette has made some official statements pertaining to his release from TNA.
Corny.
And he says basically that Terry Taylor, Dixie Carter, and everyone at TNA didn't feel that he was 100% with creative, and that would hamper him doing his job. He agrees he was not 100% behind Vince Russo. These are his own words, and knows that they could never completely agree. Dixie told him that she also appreciated all of his contributions and that he can always return if he is 100% with the creative direction of the company. Cornette made it very clear that he would no longer, or would not likely ever be, behind Vince Russo from a 100% total buy-in standpoint, and that conversation was amicable between the two, that being Carter and Cornette.
How old is Cornette? He's in his 50s?
He's got to be in his 50s.
Late 50s, maybe?
Yeah.
Reference Ed Ferreira coming into TNA, as if you have not heard, Ed Ferreira and Vince Russo back in the creative process for TNA Wrestling. When he found out that Ferreira was coming in at the No Surrender pay-per-view this past Sunday, he said his feelings were actually a bit hurt, but it is what it is. And TNA had to make the right decisions, had to make the decisions that they did, and they have a creative plan and are putting people in place that will follow and execute that. Cornette also saying he would absolutely love to return to TNA, and that WWE lied to him and screwed him. He does refer to WWE as the evil empire. He's done it in many opportunities, as they did for personal reasons, being WWE. What TNA did was impersonal. It was business, no ill will at all towards TNA. Now, to this point, it's no secret that he does not like Vince Russo. As a matter of fact, if you watch the interview we did it with him several years ago, available at pwrshow.com, he had some very unfavorable things to say about Vince Russo.
I thought he was just talking about Sierra Mist.
Well, I didn't like that either. But, gentlemen, your thoughts on Jim Cornette's comments regarding his TNA release, especially since there are rumors out there about a big blow-up that happened that he says was not true, reference Eric Young.
I think Jim Cornette is just playing nice right now. And I'm sure as soon as the time's right, Diamond Jim's going to be on with us.
I think so, too. And as long as we...
We're just making sure we got enough dump time.
Yeah, as long as Jim knows, corny, if you will, he knows that FCC does listen.
I'm bringing a loaded racket.
Yes! I love the loaded tennis. You know, back when I was a young Mark, I literally went and would buy tennis rackets, and I actually got one into one wrestling event because I used to bring it with me because I thought, you could let it in.
Do we still have the interview somewhere with you and Cornette?
Yeah,
we
were just referencing it.
It's on pwrshow.com.
It's amazing.
It really is. It's probably my favorite interview we've ever done. Again, that's available at pwrshow.com. But very interesting, Jim Cornette actually finally getting his chance to speak and ending by saying he does wish TNA all the best.
I don't believe that at all.
I think he was just being PC, hoping that the door stays open.
I've known
Jim Cornette's not known to be PC, though.
No, Jim's a great guy, and you wait. When the time is right, believe me, he has his own, Cornette's collectibles, and they're going to have a shoot video on that.
3 minutes and we're out of here.
Well, Jim Cornette always been one of the superstars of the business, in my opinion. I think he rivals Bobby the Brain Heenan in his ability to discuss and sell things, basically, via promo and via on air.
Yep.
Well, that's about a show, guys. Next week, the Blueprint Matt Morgan joins us right here on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com. We'll be on Wednesday, September 30th at 8 o'clock p.m. Make sure you tune in to PWR Primetime this Friday as well at PWRshow.com. For David Hero, the Kaz, and the man they call Meathead, this is Damian Nelson saying so long, and thank you very much for tuning in to the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN and ESPNMilwaukee.com.